So, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I think we're good to get started. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tamara Jackson Gatewood, Director of Membership Services here with Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce. Happy holidays to everyone, and I'm just really thankful to have an opportunity to just be able to converse with individuals, small business owners, and then also experts to talk about one of the trends that's coming out of the pandemic, and that is individuals that are really taking a chance and looking to open their own business or take whatever they've been doing on the side and actually take the steps to kind of formalize that out into a process. And what we're finding more and more is that as opposed to letting people kind of go it alone, we just want to make sure that business owners have access to the resources that they need to really get started running, I guess, to get a running start. So again, I'm Tamara, Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber, and we do have a pretty packed agenda. So we'll go ahead and get started. I need to say hello to our folks that are on virtually. And for those of us that are here in person, it looks like everybody grabbed something to eat. If you haven't, please do. Lunch is brought to you by Country Cooking, a great small business here in the area, husband and wife team that have utilized the BRT at some point in time too. So thank you so much, Destiny, for that. Today's program is going to highlight our BRT, or our Business Resource Team. That's a free business resource. It's comprised of various local, state, and some federal agencies that educate, counsel small business owners at each stage of the business cycle. Helping to facilitate this conversation today is Contessa Hood, and she's with Greater Muskegon Economic Development as an Economic Development Coordinator. And before I invite Contessa up to the podium, I just want to thank and recognize our sponsor, DTE Energy Foundation, for their support in this series, in our Let's Talk Business series. This is a very intentional series so that we're able to impact our small business owners, various neighborhoods, different audiences on the Muskegon Lakeshore, and they've been very instrumental in making sure that we're able to do that. So thank you so much, DTE. And I'm going to kick it over to Contessa, and we've got the one mic here, so here you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today representing GMED. We have a great panel today. We will be representing just a portion of the companies that were able to make up the business resource team. Thank you so much to the additional BRT members that are in the audience today that have joined us. We hope to have some time at the end so that we can connect with all of our members and ask any other questions and introduce everyone. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists today. Karen Benson, unfortunately, she could not make it. She was not feeling good, and we have good hands, so no worries, we're in good hands. So first up, Ed Gardner with Michigan Small Business Development Center, Ozetta Aaron with Muskegon SCORE, and Cindy Langlois with Lakeshore Fab Lab. I'd like to come up, please. Yeah, come and have a seat. Welcome, welcome. So before we jump into the panelists' questions, I'd like to turn the mic over to the panelists to give a brief overview of their organization, where they are located, and what they do.
So hi, I'm Cindy Langlois. I'm the Associate Dean of Workforce and Talent Development at Muskegon Community College. So at MCC, you guys know we have 4 credit classes. We can provide training for employees. But in addition to that, we have our Lakeshore Fab Lab, which is a community-facing, open to the public Fab Lab maker space. So you can go in there and do a lot of different things, which we'll talk about later.
Super. Is this mic on? I don't know if the mic's on.
Or is it on for?
Yep, it's on.
It's on? Okay,
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure this is here. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Garner, the regional director for the Michigan Small Business Development Center Network. And so the Michigan Small Business Development Center really is a statewide organization here that's offering business services for free to all of you guys out there because you're paid through your tax dollars. So primary funders, the U.S. Small Business Administration, and then we get support through the state of Michigan, and then also local regional hosts. Our host here in West Michigan is Grant County State University. So my center covers 13 counties here in West Michigan, Muskegon being one of the primary counties. So everybody here that will be served under my team in West Michigan, we are our house downtown in Grand Rapids, but we do come out here to the Lakeshore as well to do some of our services. So our basic services is really threefold. Number one, we do one-on-one business consulting, a team of consultants that work with me. We meet with you one-on-one. It's all confidential. It's all no cost to you. We talk about any aspects of your business operation. You can meet as many times as you need, one time or 20 times, it doesn't matter. Also, we do a lot of education and training. Right now, most of it's virtual, but we will do some in person later down the road as well. And just on a number of various topics, you can find all about those on our website at Michigan Sbdc.org. There, and then the third basic thing we do is market research, which is a little bit different than some of my similar partners would do. In that we have a team of researchers at the university that we use to do market research for us. We'll get into that in a little bit today as well. And this is one of the primary searches you probably all going to want to engage. To help you define your markets, target your markets, to validate your markets and so forth. Their researchers, companies pay big money for it. We provide for it at no cost as well. So the assistance here is primarily, once again, the consulting, the research, the training are three basic services that we do.
Good afternoon. I'm Rosetta Aaron. I'm a member of the Muskegon chapter of SCORE. SCORE actually represents Service Corps retired executives, but we've since changed that to Counselors to America's Small Businesses. Most of the membership of the organization, we're all over the 50 states. We've been in existence for almost 50 years. We have primarily retired individuals from various companies, but we also utilize members who are not quite retired yet. Because one, we realize that everyone is not trying to open a business in the manufacturing area, which comprises of a lot of our volunteers from manufacturing. We provide our counseling services, which are free to anyone interested in starting a small business. Mainly, we're an ear to listen. We can recommend different resources such as Sbdc and other organizations to assist you in putting together the information you need for your business plan. We also review business plans and also do some virtual training and one-on-one workshops. And we're located right here up in the Muskegon office. Is located here in the chamber, and we represent Muskegon, Owego, and Ottawa County.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Now, Ed, I know that you played a pivotal role in the creation of the business resource team. Can you share with our audience a little bit of the background? What is the business resource team and how did it get started?
Sure, be happy to do that. So I don't know how many years WRT has been around, at least 7 years. Maybe shorter, a little bit longer than that even. But really, the conversation for the business resource team got started right in this very building, right in this very space that you're looking at. Between the conversation between me, I was working at the GMED now, or what's called Muskegon Area First at that time. Don Johnson here, that was working for the Chamber of Commerce, and then also the Michigan Works Agency. And the way that the conversation was about is that each of us was trying to do outreach to the business community. We're all out in the field, meeting businesses one-on-one, trying to assess their needs, trying to offer them the services that we had to offer. And oftentimes, I would be out there one week talking to a business, and the chamber representative would be out there the next week. And the next week, the Michigan Works guy would be out there and stuff. And so we always collaborate, we always talk and refer keep people to each other, but we got to talk and said, maybe there's a better service delivery mechanism that we can do to be more efficient at getting business to understand what we do. And also for their time, those business owners like yourself are busy. You don't have time in your day sometimes to stop and take another meeting after another meeting after another meeting. If you're like me, I've been zoomed out meetings since this pandemic began. So you may know what I'm talking about. So we said, maybe there's a better way to do this. Let's collectively try to really come up with a system whereabouts we can, one person, if they go out, they can kind of represent all the other business organizations that's out there. And so we started looking at other organizations like SCORE, like the MCC, like we got a few of our partnership, like Employees Association, like the Ski and Innovation Hub. We started looking at all of these agencies, particularly that were kind of more public facing, that really didn't charge for their services or minimum, like the Chamber of Commerce here as well. And then we assembled kind of this team. So this is kind of an entrepreneur support organization group. There's different, there may be different types of groups that exist like this in other regions, like in the Grand Rapids area, there's an entrepreneur support organization group. They call it something else. It's not a BRT. But our BRT basically set out to really, number one, come up with a better way to deliver our services to you as business owners. And then number two, also for us to get a better understanding of what each of us actually did. So the first thing we did, the first event that we did as assembling the group, learning kind of more what we do, we did an expo. We did an expo and we basically all came there and had different tables and got time to speak, but we allowed business owners to come in and basically find out what we do. And so everybody's able to go around to the individual tables, talk to representatives, find what they do, and kind of get a better understanding of all the resources that's out there. So you as business owners, we really encourage you to find as many resources that you can. A lot of people, even today, with SCORE been around like 50 years, Sbdc has been around like over 40-something years. People come to us and say, I never heard of it, in all this time, where have you been? And when they find us, it's great, but sometimes they find us too late. And so we want you guys to know about this early on, know about these resources that's available, particularly if there's no cost or little cost, before you go out here and big bucks or somebody can do it. So we're continuing our meeting, at least once a quarter. We started meeting once a quarter since the pandemic hit, we kind of slowed down, but we annually try to do one event as well. And so we continue to build on this concept of the service delivery mechanism to help you better understand who we are, how to engage us. There should be no wrong door. That's the key. So you got a brochure with all the members there. Any door you come through, if they can't have that resource, they should be able to get you to the next BRT person that can have that resource. And in fact, as we come out to see you, we may, and if we know you need one of the other resources, we will invite the other BRT members to come along on that call with your permission. So that's how it works. That's how it works. We're still in progress. We're still growing this. And so it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system, but it's unique to Muskegon because Ottawa County doesn't have this, Kent County doesn't have this, other counties doesn't have this kind of collective type of group of folks that are all working to one end. That end is really to help you grow business.
Well, thank you so much, Ed. We are so grateful for the hard work you and others have put into forming this amazing resource for our business and our community. Now let's get to know some of those resources within the BRT, and what a better place to start than at the beginning. Ozetta, we have a lot of creative visionaries in the room and on Zoom with us today. Can you help us understand at Muskegon SCORE, how do you assist in advising your customers on how to go from all of the ideas that are in your head to a business plan?
Well, usually when a person comes to SCORE, they are at the initial stage of saying, I think I want to start a small business, or I saw this particular small business, I think I can do it better. And so they come and basically they schedule some time with us, and it's either myself or one of the other members or two of the other members. We usually counsel in teams of 2, and we'll sit and talk with you about your business idea, ask you how far along you've come as far as, have you started a business plan? Have you started the business? Because we do have some that have actually started the business, and then they come back to us and think, I'm trying to get financing, now I need a business plan. But actually, you should start the business plan before you start the business, because not only is it something that you would use to try to get financing for your business, but it's a good idea to have one just to decide how you're going to run the business. Because in setting it up, you look at your name, you look at, if I should even go into it, and we've had many times where we've counseled someone, and by the time we talked to them and we listened to the information they presented us, where we kind of talked them out of starting that particular business. So that's basically our role. We'll listen to you and tell you yay or nay.
Thank you so much, Ozetta. Can we make sure that that mic is on? Is it turned? Yes.
Turn yours off when you're talking. Okay, sorry, guys. First time doing a hybrid in the room, so there's some learning curves, but I think we got it.
Yes, and we're in an intimate setting, so this is perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ozetta. Now, Ed, we know that a business plan is a critical roadmap for how you will run your business and reach your customers. And once you have that idea and begin building that business plan, how do you start planning the business financials, lending, investors, end of things? How do you go to, where do you go, how soon? What options are out there for someone just to get started?
There's a lot to that question. Yeah, so you can go to the store, for sure, you can sort of one resource, you can sort of come to that SBDC as well. But Ozetta said it kind of from the beginning, your business plan kind of is your roadmap. So a business is started without a business plan and succeeded, absolutely. But the national statistics say that half of all small businesses that start will fail in the first 5 years. Now, I don't know if this pandemic has the number changed or not. That's just a national average out by the Small Business Administration. Typically, when you work with service organizations like SCORE and us and the Chamber and others here, you can increase your odds of business success. Typically, I think the last time I tracked it, at least 75 to 80% of business that we helped 5 years prior were still in business. So basically, the plan, certainly if you're looking for money, you're going to need a plan to show your investors, even your family and friends. Everybody's going to know what the plan is and what the written plan is, because everybody has a plan, even if it's in your head. Even if you're driving somewhere in your head mentally, I go down this street, I turn there, right, I take 2 blocks to the left, but they want to see it written down, documented. They want to see it that it's validated, and you got a product or a service that somebody really wants, and you got a unique selling position that you can offer against your competitors, and when it comes to financials, does the financials make sense? And are your assumptions correct? Because each set of financials should have a set of assumptions with your facing everybody. So the first step is, I would say, the plan is for you. It's not necessarily for your people you're looking for money for. But if you're looking for money, you absolutely are going to have a plan. So one good step is, if you put that plan together by yourself, I would advise that you at least come and have a review by one of our resource partners. We've done this a number of times to help so many people. We can help you to not make little mistakes, or sometimes you're just too close to it that you forget little basic things that may be in the plan. We don't want you to make the mistakes that people made 1,000 times over. Can we get you to 100% where your plan is going to be an absolutely success? Nobody can guarantee that until you get out in the marketplace and see how the market accepts that business plan. But at the beginning, you really want to think of the end, and this is what I want you to get you thinking about. Think about where you want to be with your businesses. Some people just want to sideline this. They call it a side hustle or whatever you want to call it. They just want to like make a little extra money in addition to what they're making now. Some people have left their jobs or they have got laid off and they want to replace their entire income. You know, so that's a whole different model. That's a whole different end game you're trying to get there. Some people want to be a big employer where they're going to provide jobs for other people. So all of that is going to translate into your financials that you have put together. And both SCORE and us can help you put together those financials based on the assumptions and where you want to be individually with your business. Now, once you get there, you're going to start looking for alternatives for financing. And there are a number of them out there. One thing to remember though is that any type of person that finance your business is going to ask you to put something in to the game. They call it, some people call it having skin in the game. Some people just call it having a down payment. It's just like buying a car or a house or anything else. You got to buy a car and you want to say, well, how much down payment you got? You know, you buy a house, how much down payment you got? Everybody wants you to have some skin in the game. So I don't think anybody's going to give you 100% financing for what you need. But there are certainly traditional lenders, like we got one in the back, Tracy Strait, works for Chevy State Bank. But until you get to that place, there are also alternative lenders, such as the Grand Rapids Opportunities for Women or GROW, which is not here today. They're just one of them. GROW is one. We have several others too in the region. Michigan Women's Forward. Don't get fooled by it says Michigan. They do small business lending for men and women. But they're in the marketplace here now as well. We got agencies like a group called Northern Initiatives. It's another alternative lender as well that does lending in this area as well. And so if you can't get it from a traditional source, you may have to start with one of these smaller sources that can do what we call like micro loans or smaller loans to you that you can stage up. But once again, they're still going to ask you to put some in the game. They're still going to ask you, got money. If you don't have it, what do you got to do? You wait and you save up, just like you save up for a car to make that down payment, you save up for your business as well. And so but everybody's going to want to know what the plan looks like. They want to substantiate it through facts and stuff that you have in there. That's where Sbdc, SCORE, and others can come to play to help you really, what I call put meat on the bone at that business plan. We want to make sure it's realistic, that you're going with your eyes are wide open. And that's our role. Our role is not to talk you out of your business. Our role is to make sure you're going with your eyes wide open, that you know what it's going to take to actually achieve that particular business you're going to get into. I'll just stop there.
Thank you so much, Ed. Now, Cindy, we know that the Lakeshore Crab Lab has some really wonderful services for entrepreneurs, small businesses, and beyond. Can you give us an idea of how local businesses can benefit from being a member of the Fab Lab?
Absolutely, thanks for asking. So the Lakeshore Crab Lab is actually located just a block from here in the old Masonic Temple building. So just a block over and up. And inside that, inside the building, we have got lots of different machines and equipment that you guys can take advantage of. I do have a flyer in front of all of you. We do have 4 targeted audiences. So we have initiatives with K-12 partners around STEM especially. We work with just kind of people that are makers and tinkerers. You know, on Saturday, you want to come and do a project, maybe use on Pinterest, come on and do that with us. And then we work with entrepreneurs as well established businesses. With established businesses, especially those in manufacturing, we can help with 3D printing, prototyping parts. For entrepreneurs specifically, we work in conjunction with Grand Valley with the hub, because somebody may go there and have kind of that incubation space for their ideas, but maybe they need to make a prototype. So they can come over and do that with us. Or if it's a manufactured part, we've got mini mills, we've got laser cutters, plasma cutters. So maybe somebody needs to run a first edition parts with us. They can do that with us. In addition to those, we also have a t-shirt maker, a banner maker, a sticker maker, an etcher. We have crickets, we've got sublimation machines. And so I've got a couple items on the front table that you can take a look at. Rake's Brewery, their label maker broke down one day. They called us and they said, we've got to get production out. Can you help us? So we made labels for them. And then La Soul was making meals in a jar, and she wanted to print some stickers to put on those jars. And then Aldea Coffee, we made a couple coffee mugs for them with their etched logo. And then Holland Rotary wanted some Christmas ornaments made. And then Pigeon Hill had and Century Club, they wanted to make bottle openers out of metal. So they have like business card size logos, bottle openers. So it's kind of a whatever you can imagine that you need to promote your business, come and talk to us, because chances are we can help you develop those items. We can also do banners. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to at like trade shows, and they're like, oh, my banner got lost, or I forgot. Well, come see us. We can make banners, window clings, all sorts of stuff. We can take your logos and help get creative ways to get those out into the community. We can also make like trays and display items. We can do things for business shows and that type of stuff. So it's kind of a wherever your imagination can go, just bring that to us. Chris Kaminski is our Fab Lab manager. He's a mechanical engineer by trade. It always amazes me. I go into the Fab Lab and I'm like, what are we doing today? And he's like, oh, this person's doing this really creative outside of the box kind of thinking thing. And then somebody else is doing something very different, but it's also super creative and fun. And it is a community. So when people get in there, a lot of times our members will talk to each other. What do you do? What do you make it? And then everybody kind of feeds off of each other. I never thought about doing that. Or I did this project, maybe that could help you with your project. We are open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 1 until 7. And on Saturdays, we're open from 10 until 2. We also have classes on Saturdays. So if you're like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, feel free to come on by. We expect that. I keep saying our job is to teach people how to fish for themselves and get independent and know how to use all the equipment. But I will tell you, every Saturday I walk in there, I always grab Chris and go, hey, come here, you gotta help me. And he's like, seriously, don't you know how to do all this stuff yet? And I go, oh, no, not yet. But it's just a lot of fun. Come into our space. We'd be happy to have you. Membership?
Yeah,
Okay.
so also what are your membership rates and what is included in a membership?
So included in the membership is basically getting in the door. It gets you in the door and it gets you access to our staff members and our volunteers who again are quite bright and have so many ideas. But then if you use equipment, if you use materials, that is an additional fee on top. Membership for students, so anyone K-12 over at Grand Valley, at MCC, wherever, any student, any age, is $25 for the year. And then if you are a nonprofit, if you are a veteran, if you work for like the chamber or in government service, it's $100 for a year or $10 for a month. And then just the average adult membership is $25 per month or $250 for the year. So it's very much a nominal fee to be able to get access into all this different equipment.
Wow, thank you so much. I will say when I first went there, I felt like a kid in the candy store. My creative brain was just going crazy. It's a wonderful property. All right, so now Ed, we know that Sbdc is known for its partnership with small businesses in each stage of the business cycle, and not just limited to startup. Can you provide us with some of the business services you offer?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, absolutely. So we're there from beginning to end. I'm gonna backtrack right quick before I answer that question. I just want to recognize a couple of our business resource team partners that's out in the audience today. So I know those who are doing this online won't be able to see this, but to my left, we got a representative from Michigan Works, which is great. Just let people know, so I'm gonna encourage you guys to take a break right after the encourage to talk to these folks. In the back, we got Kevin Rico from the Speaker Innovation Hub. Great, please make sure to talk to him. And we have Lisa from the Employers Association. Okay, right in this business too. These are a couple of other business resource partners here for you. So please engage with them during the break. So great. So let's talk about Sbdc Services along the journey. So as I talked about, I'm the regional director, and we have 9 other regions like me across the state. So that we cover all 83 counties of the state of Michigan. So my team, I want you to think of it like this. My team of consultants are more generalists than specialists. And so each region, no matter where you go throughout the state of Michigan, and SbdCs are all across the country as well. Each region will get you their regional office to do there. Everybody there in a team of consultants, each consultant has years of business experience. But that we consult in all areas of business entities. So we take you up to about till you get around $1 million mark, from $0 or $1 up to $1 million. You're normally going to be dealing with a regional team office. Now, Once your business grows, and I said once, I didn't say if, I said once your business gets to be $1 million or more or close to it, we have now a specialty team called our growth team. And our growth team is comprised of about 10 individuals, all with different specialities. These are human resources, financing, marketing, and they're scattered through all out the state, and they'll work on any project in the state. And basically, they will help you kind of get over that $1 million threshold and continue to grow your business. Because as you continue to grow and get that size and start hiring a number of employees, so forth, you now become what we call a second stage business, and you start facing different issues. You may need another big round of financing, things of this nature, and so they can help navigate that space for you. Also, at some point in your life cycle, you may look at either retiring from your business or selling your business. So we're even getting that game where we have people evaluate things they need to do to buy and sell a business as you transition out. So no matter whether you're starting out growing, whether you are in a growth mode, a mature company, or whether you're increasing and now looking to sell or get out, we can provide services there for you as well. So whether it's strategic planning, or whether it's legacy planning, whether we're looking at financing, how to get out, we're all there. We can help with identify all those things for you. Now, we're not the money people, like I mentioned, like grow money person. I mentioned Tracy back there's money person stuff. We're not the money people. We're the people who stay abreast of all the options and things available to you as a small business owner. So one of the things we do, we do training every single year, and we're going to advise you based on our personal knowledge, experience, and training, our knowledge, experience, and training. The best thing you have when you deal with an Sbdc consultant is that we are a statewide network. So collectively, we have over 100, I think about 130 different consultants with varying degrees of business experience. Just in my regional office alone, we have over 90-something plus years experience if you add it all up. And the difference between an individual with their single home out selling business consultant and me is that I have access to all those 130 some people behind me. So if I don't know the answer to your questions, I can connect you with them, or I can find out from one of them. So when you come join us, you get assigned a lead consultant person, and then like that lead consultant, understand they have access to the entire resources of the network. So whether, like I say, any training materials we can get you in, like I say, any of the research we talked about, any of the knowledge base of the consultants and stuff is where there. And also we have connections to all our partners out there, such as the business resource partners, lending partners, people in the state of Michigan. So we're a good connective entity as well. If you can't figure something out yourself, we're a good place to come. Once again, our services are no charge. So once again, that's paying for any of it. She really already paid for your tax dollars at work. So we're saying use it, and unless you're getting some as you your tax dollars. That's okay by us too, but we're there for you. So we're saying use as much as you need to use it and use any of us, as many times as you need to get where you need to be, because you're not in this alone.
Thank you, Ed. Also, how can SBDC be helpful in determining a business's target audience?
Okay, so one of the three things, you remember I said we do three basic things: one-on-one business consulting, education and training, and market research. Okay, now this is where the market research comes into play. So as part of your plan, you're going to have to identify what markets or markets you're going to serve. You're going to have to really put a number on that to make sure it's big enough, because a lot of businesses have started. They may have a good business idea, but it's just not big enough market for what you're trying to do. And what we often find is that people, they'll go off to different places in the world, and they'll see these business ideas and stuff working, and they want to bring them back here to West Michigan. Well, the market may be different out there. The size may be enough people that wanted that product or service to make it work, but here in West Michigan, it may not be. And so the perfect example, that's why you don't find high-end like fashion stores here. And people always wonder why we have Saks Fifth Avenue and Lord and Taylor's and all over. That's because the market won't bear it. And not enough people will shop at those stores on a regular basis to make them put a place here. They've done their market research. The same thing you're going to do. So we at Sbdc can help you identify some of that. We can help you identify competitors. We can help you identify different types of customers. You can do what we call call demographic information, we do traffic counts, we look at locations, and we can do psychographic types of things. That's stuff like how many people like golf, in West Michigan. That's a psychographic trend, things of this nature. And so there's a lot of stuff you can find online now, that's for free for market research. But if you can't find it, we said, come to us, we'll write it up. We meet with a consultant, they'll write it up, submit it to our research department, and we'll see what we can find and come back to you and present that information to you. And we can't find anything either, but at least it won't cost you. So, but along the way in your plan, they're going to ask you to validate, your market size and your marketability. And that's one of the things you got to show. So you got to show in your plan, well, how did you come up with that number? You thought there may be, 50,000 people that want your services, but in reality, there could be potentially that many, but how many actually going to use it? So that's a critical part of your business plan and your marketing part. And then that translates over to your financials, because at the end of the day, it's like a big funnel. There's all these potential people that you can potentially serve. And the first thing they'll say to us, if they come to us saying we can serve everybody or everybody can use my product, we said in our heads. Now we don't say this to you. We say it out. You don't really know what you're talking about. Because potentially everybody could use it, but in reality, who really is going to use it? So you just think of like a big funnel. You start with this big number and you keep whittling down to really a realistic number that you think you can do. Now, that translates back into your financials, because really, I don't know how much money you guys want to make, but you got to have enough customers or potential customers there that's willing to buy what you have to offer, or at least look at it, that you can make the kind of money that you want to make, whatever that magic number is. And that's left up to you. We can have to find that through a market research department. We can show you where the free stuff is at, but also we can do selective stuff for you. So that's a key component of, like I said, once again, your business plan that people are going to look for, and you should be looking for it yourself, and you should know what the understanding is.
Thank you so much, Ed. Ozetta, can you talk about the risk associated with bypassing the important step of creating a business plan? As Ed mentioned, market research, target audiences, and choosing to forge ahead with the building a business.
Well, as I said before, please recommend do the business plan first. One reason is because if you don't do the market research, as Ed said again, you come in thinking, well, everybody's going to buy it, but then in reality, you'll see that everybody's not going to buy your product or service. Also, looking at your competition, there may be too many businesses out there doing the exact same thing. So, looking at your competition, you get to see, okay, how am I different? How can I offer this a little bit differently that'll distinguish me from everybody else? Also, you look at your pricing, because the lowest price isn't always the best price. And it also weeds out some of the customers that you want and some that you don't want. Because we have had persons come in where, say, for example, we had a gentleman that was so proud of himself because he had outbid this big competitor. But his wife kept telling him, no, you did it wrong. And as it turned out, we sat down and broke down the numbers with him in terms of what he had bid, what the competitor had bid, and what, after we looked at all his expenses, paying people, his equipment maintenance, all of that, he wasn't making any money. So it wasn't really a benefit to him. And we also, could show him that while the bigger company may have low bid, it may have been a situation where, say, they're just trying to keep their people busy until the bigger project comes up, where they're just covering their costs. So, you want to look at the business, you want to prepare the business plan. And I did, in terms of, say, while you have it in your head, and we say, write it down. Now, this is old school, but this is something that SCORE gives a lot of their customers, where you can sit here and start scribbling out what your plan for your business is. You can use your cell phone if you have Evernote and to jot down your ideas and what have you, but write it down. Because one thing if you keep something in your head, it changes all the time. You know, so you think of it this way today, another way tomorrow. So, you know, I can't emphasize enough to do the plan, because if nothing else, once you finish this, you'll see, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't go into this business, or say you may have named it wrong. You know, and you, after you've done your plan, you realize, okay, why you named it wrong. That the pricing that you were thinking of, okay, I better look at this some more to see if it's really something that I want to do. So, you know, and I would say, because you can do this pretty much, you know, by using our different resources free of charge before you spend any money starting the business, to see if it's going to work. You know, you do this, you have a good idea of whether or not it'll work before you spend any money renting a space, you know, hiring people, buying inventory. So I say do the business plan before you start the business.
Thank you, Ozetta. That was so much, you know, great information. Did you have any other further advice for the audience as they work through their own business journey?
Well, I guess, well, I'm also a business owner. I happened to inherit my mother's business, but I had a business prior to this, and I was one of those who, I named my business one thing, but I kept being confused as, say, I think my first business was called Small Business Associates. And people kept thinking I was part of the SBA free of charge, so I had to change it. You know, I'm confusing that because I can tell you that from my own life experience. Okay, I named my business wrong because I'm not offering free service. But you know, one, I would say go into something that you enjoy. My dad always told me you can make money doing anything, but it's more important that you get into something that you enjoy getting up to do. You know, because a lot of times, you know, even going to college, you know, they tell you to go into these different professions, but a lot of times we're pushed into stuff because it makes money, not necessarily because we enjoy it. And, you know, and you want to go into something that you enjoy and can make money for, you know, can. You know, that would be my goal anyway, because you know, you can look at different things, and if it's not something you like doing, you're not gonna make the effort for it as you would for something that you enjoy.
Thank you so much, Ozetta. Before we go forward, Jen, we wanted to check the chat just to see if there are any questions.
And I'll say this, but you might have to repeat it, but anybody that's joining in virtually, they can write their questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom, and I'll answer it.
Perfect. Okay.
If it's okay, while we wait for that, do you mind if I ask a question?
Of course.
Only because my former life was banking and financial services, and this was something that came up all the time, and Ed brought it up. So if you don't mind sharing, like, when it comes to putting skin in the game and having some kind of down payment, what that looks like, specifically the difference between actually having money in a bank account versus the money that a business owner along the way has kind of put into their business. So money that they may have taken, you know, along the way from their checking accounts, transferred from a line of credit to their checking to start purchasing some things along the way, and then being able to document and substantiate that too.
Great. And before I answer that question too, I just want to be clear about this business plan thing, because we've talked a lot about business plan. And that's a fear for a lot of people. And actually the fear of speaking to he's a Toastmaster. And but a business plan doesn't have to be lengthy. I just want to keep that in mind. You know, it just needs to contain certain information. And so if you're already in business and haven't did it yet, a good place to start would be what's called a business model canvas that the actually SCORE has a good video on that. You go to score.org, they have a slew of training webinars that they do is they're put together nationally, most of them, but you can just Google business model canvas. It's like a one-page sheet thing that has different sections that help start getting your ideas out on paper. And so it's almost like a one-page business plan, you can almost say, but they'll walk you through stuff so that just to start getting some of those ideas, or if you're already in business, you should already know that. You can start putting it into different sections, and then you can start seeing where maybe you missing some gaps and stuff. So I encourage you to do that. Encourage you, like I said, don't think that the plan has to be 100 pages, 50 pages, all that. It could be like several pages. It just needs to cover certain stuff, and you need to have a review by somebody, you know. So the second thing is really having that team in place that can help you do that. So as you start building your business, make sure you start putting together what we consider other team people, like an Sbdc consultant, like a SCORE mentor. That consider as part of your team, like a Michigan Works representative that can help you find employees, do all other sorts of stuff, like the Chamber of Commerce that can help you network and everything. We're part of your team. So start building the team. You know, it's not just you alone out there. Now, in the answer to the question about money. So if I'm hearing the question right, what we're talking about is equity, your equity in the business, which could come in certain forms there. And so the way you do this, when you start, if you're doing it from scratch, you start listing what's called your sources of funds and your uses of funds. And then your uses of funds is all the costs, everything that you're going to need to get that business started. So was this leasing a facility, was this purchasing capital, was this hiring employees, was it getting marketing stuff? Everything you're going to use is your uses of that, and you start adding all that up, and you come up with a magic number. So out of that, now you start looking at, well, what sources do I have to cover these uses of funds? Do I need to start this up? And part of that is your equity, what's called your equity. Now, your equity can be cash money. It could be, if you're going to build a building or something like that, it could be that you own land and so forth already to set a certain value. So if you got things of certain value, that's part of your equity. Even if you own, like I said, you've already purchased some things for your businesses, you possibly can use that for some of your equity. If you purchase computers, most people have purchased a computer. If you purchase certain pieces of equipment, you're going to need to operate that business. You start listing the value of that, and that's all what's considered equity as well. And just like any other business deal, the more equity you have in the deal, the better it is to the lender. Because you got to look at it from the lender's point of view. It's like they're not trying to lose money. Most times they're using other people's money as well. And so their role is not to lose money for the bank or the credit union or whomever. Their goal is to make, you know, a reasonable deal to help your business get started. And they need to know that you're committed. And one of the ways they show that you're committed is by the amount of equity you have into it, injection you have into it. And the larger that equity injection, the better. Now, some will tell you there's a minimum equity injection. Some may be 5%, maybe 10%, probably more like 20-30% now. Talk to Tracy back there. He can give you a little bit more indication of what banks are asking for now, what lending institutions are asking for, what type of equity they'd like to see in the deal to make it work. And basically just realize that, yeah, they want committed people. They're investing in you, not necessarily business, but they're investing in you if you're a startup in particular. Because if you don't have what it takes to stand there through the ups and downs of the business, then they know that business will fail, even though it was a great business idea. One of the reasons businesses fail is because of poor management. It's not because it was a bad business idea. So they got to believe in you. And one of the ways they can believe in you is that you got something at stake to lose. If you don't have anything to lose, they know you can just walk away pretty easily. So that's why you need that equity. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed. Now we know you have to take off, but there's one more question over Zoom. Does SCORE and Sbdc offer any industry-specific consultation?
How about that?
Well, okay. SCORE does offer industry-specific consultation. We have counselors that have expertise in a wide variety of areas, not just manufacturing. We have bankers, we have attorneys, depending on, like, say, for myself, my area of expertise, they have me listed as someone with marketing, accounting, the cash flow projections. I'm also a retired librarian, a former banker also. Currently, I run a clothing alterations and repair shop. And so, we may have persons that have expertise in real estate, retail, you name it. And so, say if you do set up an appointment and talk with someone and that's not their area, then they refer you on to someone who has that expertise, whether it be within SCORE or say another one of our BRT partners.
Yeah, the short answer to that is, yes, we do have kind of industry experts in certain areas. Not all of them may be located at your regional office that you go to, but once again, if the expertise exists within the network, whoever your lead consultant is will have, they will have access to that person. And so every SBDC consultant is it's come out of pretty much some industry. So you can't be an SBDC consultant and just fresh out of college because you don't have any experience in it. And so everybody has come out of some type of business organization or function or ran a business themselves, and they bring that knowledge base, to them when they come. Also, we're continually, as I said, we're continually learning ourselves. We do training every year as managers. That we try to get trained and keep abreast of new stuff that's coming about. And so SCORE does a fabulous job, I found, because all of their mentors are business people who are now volunteering their time to share their wealth and knowledge. And specifically, if you happen to hit on one that's in your industry, like if you're doing a restaurant and they have somebody that came out of the restaurant industry, serving you, they probably got good advice that they can give. And so they can match you up with somebody. We all have, if it exists within our network, we'll have access to it, even if you're a specific consultant doesn't have access to it. So the short answer is yes, depending on what industry it is, we find.
Thank you so much. All right, so now this is a great segue to the next part of our program, where we are going to let you hear from a local business owner who has crossed through many phases in his business and is a great success story for our local business community. Please welcome Zach Smith, owner of Lively Up Kombucha. Yep, you can just have it. Yep. Zach, we are so excited to hear about your own personal experiences using the BRT and your path to getting to where you are now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I started my business, it's called Lively Up Kombucha. We are a beverage business and we brew, ferment, and distribute our bottled product to over 100 locations in the state, grocery, retail, bars, restaurants, cafes. And I am kind of laughing in the back of my mind during this whole session because in 2017, I was one of those entrepreneurs that started without a business plan. It was just an idea that I had in my mind and I thought I had it all figured out. And so in 2017, we found a local incubator and started at the Muskegon Farmers Market. By 2018, we got our own space, and because I didn't have a business plan in place, and I was just going one day at a time, we were easily swayed by the market and by industry and by other people where there wasn't a solid grip. It cost me a lot of time and resources. And about our first year into the business, I didn't know about the business resource team or SCORE really, but what did come to me was Michigan State University Product Center, and they focus specifically on food-based products and getting them retail ready. And so after about our first year in business, we started to tighten things up and really take a look at our financials, take a look at our plan, take a look at our marketing and sales strategy. And at that point, we fixed a lot of things. We rebranded our company and changed our entire model. We changed our production layout. We realized we even leased the wrong building and we had to make changes to that. So and then I had to get out there and I had to bootstrap and get some sales and get some revenue going. And from that time to now, we're sold in over 100 stores, including Whole Foods. January 29th, we'll be in Meijer stores. We're pretty excited about it, but it's taken a lot of work, and you definitely have a lot of resources here. We outgrew our space in 2020. We were on Broadway in Roosevelt Park in Muskegon, and we were leasing 2 spaces to continue the demand, and we had been picked up by a statewide distributor. And so the Great Community Foundation of Muskegon and GMed had built the farm facility, which is a food research and manufacturing facility to accelerate food businesses. We're now leasing space there, and it's the home of our business. And now we can grow to fulfill demand. And we work with MSU today still on really a weekly basis on accelerating our business. And it's important to map it out and put it on paper. But that's a brief on our story.
Well, thank you so much, Zach. It is so great to hear your story, and we are so happy to have such a creative and inspiring entrepreneur in Muskegon. Thank you so much for your insight and for the support you are giving our business community. Now we would like to open this time up for questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions? Let me check the chat as well on Zoom. Question in front, go right ahead.
So I'm one of those who has a business without a plan, and every time I try to write the plan, I get frustrated because I feel like I call it niche notching. Right, I'm on my 3rd niche, like every year the niche changes a little, and there's this sense of doom and gloom that I'm gonna invest in writing it down, and then it's not gonna be that anyway.
Yeah, so that's a great point that you made. Now, your business plan is fluid, and that's why I said it will change. It's a living document. And so the worst thing you can do is write a plan and then put it in your drawer and say, okay, my plan completed, put it in, lock it up, and stuff, because guaranteed it's gonna change over time. So what you do your plan as best you know from today's, and then you just start monitoring it along the way and saying, it's just an analogy like taking a road trip. You may plan a road trip out, but then once you get down the road, you may find there's obstacles in the way. They got road construction, so you got to slow down. Other areas you may have to take a detour and stuff. And so you start making adjustments to the plan. And that's exactly what you should do. You should be reviewing your plan, particularly, making sure you're hitting the right markets and making sure you're looking at your numbers. You got once you can get a good set of financials with your numbers, we'll map that out for you month by month by month by month for the first year. And literally, you just sit there and you say, okay, well, how much did I do this month? And you plug it in, how much did it cost me, my expenses, and you plug it in this Excel spreadsheet. You got your projections next year, and you can see the variances there. And you can see where you can spot where you're going wrong a lot easier. I bet you may not spot it, but you can spot it like, wait a minute, I'm off. I thought I was going to sell this much and I'm not selling that much. Or I thought I was going to sell this beer, but I'm actually selling that beer. And stuff. And then you can start tweaking where you need to invest your money, where you need to invest your time, but it should really be a living document. That's why I said if it's 100 pages, you're not gonna revisit that. It needs to be something that that you can manage on the computer or something, or hand writing something, and you need to be checking it like every month. Or checking in with us every month, or getting a mentor from school or something, because mentors will help keep you to the task. That's one of the things they want to do. They'll keep checking in with you. Hey, how's that going? Hey, how's that going for you? And making sure you're making adjustments along the way. So what you need to do is just get started with what you got, and then just come in and see one of us, and we'll have to get the rest of it.
Any other questions? I do have one question for Cindy. How do you grow your talent? And how important is it to grow talent, maybe Muskegon County to be specific, maybe K through 12? How important is that?
You made a focus Fab Lab or just MCC in general?
Whatever you would like.
Okay. So when I started my position at MCC, my job was to go out and talk to local businesses and provide custom training, which means non-credit. So maybe a company needed to learn how to read blueprints better or math better. But my instruction for my supervisor was go out and find out what companies need and provide it. And then I would ask open-ended questions. What do you need? And so instead of just hearing back, oh, we need custom training, I was hearing we need internships and we need apprenticeships and we need this and we need that. And we need the talent pipeline in this region really to be bolstered up. We know that we've got talent issues. There's so many jobs that are unfulfilled right now. And so my job just expanded, and I really loved the BRT concept because we've got lots of people that are connected to even more people who are connected to more people. And so we at MCC, prior to COVID, developed talent pipeline days where we would have about 700 to 1,000 children in their K-12 systems come into our STIRS Technology Center, which mainly focuses on applied technology, manufacturing careers. But they would tour through that and meet with local companies and meet and see their products that they make, and then make connections between these are products that are being made regionally to the careers and the educational opportunities that we had. And then they'd go down to the Fab Lab, and I would say they would play with STEM, but while they're playing with STEM and doing coding and looking at robotics and those types of things, there was also connecting back to those careers that we have locally. So we have lots of talent initiatives that we're doing at the college to either work with our K-12 partners or to work with our companies to find out really what their talent needs are and make sure that we're able to meet those at MCC.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank all of our three panelists, Ed, Ozetta, Cindy, for giving us some great information on how the business resource team can be utilized and giving us a wonderful program here today. The business resource team is here to help ensure you are successful in your business plan and in your path, wherever that may be, startup, growth, expansion. You will find printouts on the business resource guide at your tables, which will give you full insight into the team and how they can be utilized. This guide can also be found on Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber's website at muskegon.org. We would like to call out that the event was intentionally hosted in this conference room today because it is a central location for the BRT as it houses the offices of Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce, Greater Muskegon Economic Development, Employers Association, Muskegon SCORE, and PTAC. If you ever have any questions about the business resource team or any organizations affiliated with the BRT, you can always feel free to stop in at any time by our office or give our front desk a call. Phone number can also be found on the chamber website as well. Before you go, I want to quickly call out some additional BRT members who are with us today. If you're in the audience, can you please raise your hand again? If you're interested in chatting with any of the BRT members, please do so and network with them, ask them any questions. Also, here is Tamara to give a quick little update. We have a new loan that is available. So Tammy, if you'd like to give a brief update about that.
Yep, and I can do this from here because everybody can hear me. Rende Progress Capital is an organization that is housed out of Kent County. And that organization specifically works with small business owners that have in some way, shape, or form been disenfranchised, whether that's at the lending level or otherwise. And so they are making some microloans available now in the Muskegon County area. We have information on all of the attendees that signed up. So what we want to make sure that we do is in our follow-up, provide information on Rende Progress Capital, as well as a link to get more information on that. They do have a specific wheelhouse for their lending. I think it's between $15,000 and $35,000, but that's still quite a bit of money for some business owners and for some individuals to kind of build out, their business here in the area. So I have to shout out Lively Up Kombucha only because their kombucha is helping me lose. I'm down to 9 more pounds of COVID weight. So just drinking their product each day is helping it do all the gut things that it needs to do. So I have to call you out on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for that update. We thank you all so much for joining us, and we look forward to helping you along with your business journey. Thank you so much, everyone.
So in order to share it to each other. I had a trust thing, so now when I take that and if I change it, and I'm running it in a master form, so it's just a